Welcome to Muddy River News This Week. My name is David Adam, and I'm the editor at Muddy River News. I'm pinch hitting this week for Bob Goff. My guest today is Cameron Vaughan. She is a 16-year-old student at Quincy High School who's been in the news quite a bit in the past month. Cameron reported an incident to the police last summer that she had been attacked by a man by the name of Drew Clinton at a graduation party last summer. And during a bench trial in October, Clinton was found guilty of one count of criminal sexual assault. However, at the sentencing hearing in January, Judge Robert Adrian reversed the guilty plea and allowed Clinton to walk free after serving 146 days in the Adams County Jail. Cameron and her family have been talking about their experience with local and national media for the past month, and Cameron is here today. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, how you doing?
I'm doing better. It's less overwhelming now than it was before.
And why so?
It's calmed down a lot, and it's still a lot, but it's not as bad as it was before. Whenever I was getting millions of texts and messages, it's just back to normal now.
All right. Well, I'm going to kind of go almost chronologically down the path of where you've been since basically last summer. The night of the graduation party, how many people were there, and how many people did you, I know it was a graduation party, but you're only 16. Did you know most of the people there, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew almost every person there. It was not that much. There was like 30 people. It was just like close friend group. And Drew was only there because he was friends with them from whenever he lived here.
Did you know him at all before that party?
I did not.
Did not. So had you even met him before that party?
I saw him once whenever I was at Gus Macker, but I didn't talk to him or anything. But I saw him there, and my friends were like, "Yeah, that's Drew." And then I met him at the graduation party.
Okay. We got a version from Judge Adrian during the sentencing hearing of what he thought the graduation party was like. Can you tell me, what was it like? What was everybody doing? What was the atmosphere that evening?
It was really just like a get together. It wasn't really like a crazy party with music blasting and everything. It was just everyone sitting around talking. We were swimming. Like, it wasn't like crazy. It was just it wasn't really a party, but it was just like a little thing friends did for his graduation.
Okay. You have admitted multiple times in many of the interviews that you've done that you got sick from drinking, you threw up, you left, and you went to a friend's house and ended up on a couch. At what point did you know something wasn't right?
Whenever I woke up whenever I couldn't breathe, and I woke up and I was like, what is going on? So then I was like, I knew something was happening, so I was laying there and I was like, oh my God. And so I had to push him up off of me, and I rolled onto the floor, and then I looked at who it was, and he just got up and started playing his video games, and I was like...
Were there any words exchanged?
No, I told him, the only thing I said was, I'm going to the bathroom, because I was too scared. I didn't know what to say, because I thought he'd follow me. So I was just like, I'm going to the bathroom, and then I left.
So what happened after that? I know you said you got up, you went to the bathroom. Who did you talk to afterward? Who did you talk to first?
I talked to one of my friends. I'm not going to say her name.
Sure.
But I went in there. She was sleeping on the floor, and I told her, I was like, this just happened. But she was very tired. She went right back to sleep. And so then I went on the bed where one of my friends was sleeping with his girlfriend. I'm just laying down in bed, and I woke them up crying, and I was just explaining to them what happened, and then he went and had a talk with him. And then that's whenever Drew admitted to doing stuff to me to his friend. Oh,
so he admitted to his friend
Yes.
that he had done something.
Yes.
I did a little homework on this, and the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network reports that more than 2/3 of sexual assaults go unreported. Why did you decide to report your case to the police department?
Because it has happened to my friends, and it's happened to some family members, to the point where it's they didn't speak up, and I know how it's affected them, so I felt like I had to. And I was just going to let him get away with it and could do it to any other girl.
Was that an easy decision for you to make? Did you come to that decision fairly quickly?
Kind of. At first I was like, yeah, I'm not telling my parents. I don't want them to find out I was underage drinking. I don't want them to know all the stuff. But then not long after, I was like, I have to tell them. Like,
once school started back in the fall, you chose to go to school virtually and work from home.
I did go to school for the first week maybe, and
Okay.
then that's when I decided I wanted to go online.
Were you there for a week and decided, why did you decide to go online?
It was just uncomfortable because it's like more people around the town started finding out, and I kept getting looks and questions about everything, and it was overwhelming and not a thing I wanted to talk about at school.
So you dropped out, off the track team. I think your father has been interviewed as saying that you kind of stopped hanging around your friends. Can you give me an idea of what you felt like, in the weeks and the months after that graduation party?
I just didn't want to go out and have to deal with anybody and like have to talk to them and explain over and over and keep reliving what happened, because it was just, I was so sad at the time, and it was like I never thought I would get over it, so I was just like spending a lot of time to myself and not really with other people.
And how long did that period last for you?
A couple months, probably like 3 or 4 months, until I finally was like, it's gonna be better, like we'll get over this. And then the sentencing trial came, and then it was just like a slap in the face, and I was like, it got bad for a couple of days. I was really sad, and then I was just like, no, I'm not gonna be sad over this. I'm gonna try to fight for it, and that's why here now.
Did you ever question your decision to go to the police department? The fact that so many people don't report sexual assault. Did you ever think to yourself, why didn't I just not even bring it up?
I did after Drew got released, after being found guilty, because it was like I spoke up for nothing, and like everything that I just fought for got ripped from me.
When did you start getting counseling, and are you still getting it? How has that gone for you?
I started getting counseling right away. Like, I'm trying to think of when it was, but it was like very soon after. And it was going good, but I just thought that the lady I had just didn't understand me, so I stopped seeing her. But I see some people, like every now and then I'll go see like the people at Quinata or the Mexican, I forget what the place is called, but it's downtown.
Okay.
But I go see them every now and then, and it's like, I feel like I don't really need counseling, just because I'm really open about it to my friends and family, and they're much easier to talk to than just some random person.
Sure. Okay. Let's get to the case itself. As you listened to the testimony, it was a 3-day case. I'm not expecting you to be a trial attorney, but what did you think was going to happen as you listened to things over those 3 days?
I knew he'd be found guilty because we had all the proof we needed. Like, his DNA was there. We had the video from the police department of him basically admitting to doing it. And it's like everything was there to get the justice, and it still just didn't work at the end of it all. It just made no sense.
When you went to the courthouse in January, on the day of sentencing, I know you and I believe your father and maybe some others were prepared to give victim impact statements that day. Can you summarize what you were going to say that day? You've never had the chance to say it. I
had a lot to say. It was a couple pages, and I was really excited to say it because it was like the last thing I wanted him to hear. But it was just basically saying he took everything from me, and that maybe in his time that he served in prison, he would learn to never do this to any girl ever again, and that what he did was not okay. And it's like he took a piece of me from me that I would never get back. And it's just like, it was really good and well written, and it was really hard to write. And it was like,
did you do it yourself?
I did. I wish I had it. It was really good, but it was just sad not being able to read it.
Describe what it was like to hear Judge Adrian make that decision to reverse his decision.
I left the courtroom a little bit earlier than everybody else, because it's like whenever he said that, it literally felt like he ripped my heart from me. So I had to get up, I went to the bathroom, and I cried a lot. It just really hurt.
You said that you went home, you were depressed for a couple of days afterward?
Yeah, I was sad, and I'm still sad about it, but it's like I'm not going to let it overwhelm me and me be depressed about all this, because I went through that depression time after, and that's whenever I did the overdose and everything, and I don't want myself to get to the point where it's like I don't want to live anymore.
When did the overdose happen in this process? Was that back before, during the summer?
It was, I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to think, August maybe?
Okay.
June, July or August.
What did that incident do for you in regard to your healing process? Because that was a pretty low time for you.
Yeah, I feel like since then I've grown a lot, and it made me like realize that to be stronger and not to like let what he did to me take power over me and change who I am, and just to be like, I don't want to forget it happened, but I'm not going to let it, like I said, take me over.
Talk about the process that you went through in making the decision that I'm going to speak out and I'm not going to not let people know who I am. I know when I first interviewed your father here, we made it a point. We're not even going to identify your dad, because we didn't want people to know. That's sort of the way things happen in the media. We don't want to identify victims of sexual assault. You've chosen to go a different way. I'm just curious, what made you decide? How did you go through that process?
Well, it was I thought I would instantly, whenever someone mentioned bringing it to the media, it's because it'll get way more attention to it. I was like sketchy about it at first. I was like, I don't want my name to be out there, and then they're like, your name doesn't have to be out there, and I was like, okay. But whenever we did that, it's like not much attention was to it, to the point where we could like make a change. So if you put a face and a name to something, everyone's obviously going to pay more attention to it. So whenever I put my face and name out there, that's whenever a lot of changes began happening.
Have you ever grown comfortable with the idea that your name and your face is out there attached to this topic?
It doesn't even feel like it is. Like, it hasn't hit me to the point, like, I'm everywhere. Like, it just hasn't hit. And it's just like, I feel like it's helping other people, though, to the point where it's like, all I have to do is, like, be there for other people, and not, like, I don't really know how to explain it. But
have other people reached out to you because of what you've done?
Hundreds of people have. I get texts every day saying that I've like inspired them to speak out, and that I'm helping them and like giving them strength, and that just like makes this all worth it, and it's bringing a positive out of a negative situation.
I want to make sure I give them the proper credit. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center reports that between 2 and 10% of sexual assault crimes that are reported turn out to be false. What do you say to the people who question your account and they don't think you're telling the truth? Nobody looks at the evidence that's there, because it's like, if I can't get the evidence because I'm a minor, and it's like, if I could just be like, look at this, like all the proof is there, and it's not something I would lie about, especially nationally to the whole world. And it's like, I don't even know. That part stresses me out because of all these girls. I can tell. Just sitting here with me right now, that's the first time you've kind of like stood up like, well, wait a second, I'm not lying here. Yeah, that part definitely makes me mad, because it's like all the proof is there. And when all these girls are like, you're lying about it, you're just doing it for this, this, and this. And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, it's just stressful. How did you and the producers with the Dr. Phil show get into contact with each other?
They actually reached out to me and my family, and they invited us to go out to there for it, because they really wanted to help share my story even more than it already has been. And they were really nice about it, and it was a really good experience.
So where did you go for the recording of the show, and how long were you there?
We went to the studios in LA.
Who was we? You and?
Me and my father.
Okay.
But he tested positive for COVID, so he had to go back to the hotel room. So I
kind of wondered why he was in another room during the video of the show.
He had to shoot at our hotel room because he tested positive for COVID. So it was just me there, and I was there for a couple hours, just like sitting in the dressing room waiting. And then we probably recorded for about an hour or two, and it all went really good, I think.
Did you have any concerns? I mean, when they reach out to you, I mean, you know, now this story is really going to go national. Did you have any concerns about talking with Dr. Phil?
I really didn't. At first, I was like, this could either go good or bad because it's Dr. Phil. I didn't know if he was going to be like trying to rip me apart or actually be there for me. But he was a super, like, really good man. He was super supportive about everything.
You know, many of the people in the Quincy community got to see the show. It's a 1-hour show. It was on Wednesday. When you got to watch the show, did you think, yeah, that was pretty much what happened that day? Were there any things that were said or anything that happened that didn't show up as part of the show that you thought might?
What do you mean by that?
Sometimes the fact is that they edit stuff out, or that, you know, they change things around. I mean, was what you saw on the show pretty much what happened that whole day? Was there any change, anything that got changed?
There wasn't really anything that got changed.
Okay.
Everything that was said is what I said and what did happen.
What was it like to be there?
It was a little overwhelming being there by myself and my dad not being there, but everybody made it super comfortable and they were all being really nice about it, so it was just less overwhelming.
What was it like to meet him?
It was good. He was like, at first I was like, oh my God, I'm meeting Dr. Phil, like that's insane. But then I was like, the reason I'm here is like to help just spread the awareness for it and to like get my story out, so it's just like, it's not, I don't really know. It was good meeting him though.
I mean, do you have any good Dr. Phil stories, you know, afterwards or off camera or anything like that? Or did you really have much time to meet him when you weren't there on the stage?
I do not. We just recorded and then we were over there and that.
When I contacted your father yesterday in regard to setting up a time for this, he said, well, I have to get back with you. She's at track practice. You're back on the track team. When did you decide to do that?
I decided a couple weeks ago. I think I'm like 2 or 3 weeks into the season now, but I joined later on. And watching all the news, like my dad explaining how I've like dropped out of all my sports, is just like hit me like this is my last year of high school and I'm not gonna like enjoy it to the way I should. And it's like he talked about how he doesn't think I'm gonna have a prom or go to graduation, and it's like I don't want this to like take over my life. Like I wanna step up from what happened to me. So I did decide to join back on the track team because it's like my last year and I want to experience it to the fullest. So, and the season's going really good so far. We have our first race in a couple weeks and I'm very excited for it.
So let the listeners know, what do you do for the track team?
I do a lot, but my main events are the 300 hurdles, the 4x4, and occasionally high jump if I'm okay that day.
Now, you're not attending classes at the high school at 33rd in Maine. You're still attending them virtually. Have you thought about going back to the hallways of Quincy High School?
Absolutely not. The school is so toxic. There's so many girls trying to rip me apart and just make me to seem like the worst person ever. And I don't want to deal with the drama and all the looks. So virtual online school is just better for me at this time.
How are you handling all of this attention? I mean, like you said before, you're getting texts, your face has been on newspapers and all over the world. You've been on a national talk show. That's quite a bit for a 16-year-old girl. How are you handling that?
It's a lot, but I feel like I'm handling it really well. It doesn't overwhelm me or anything. It did at first, but now it's like I take time out of my day, just like an hour, half an hour, to like answer the texts, so I don't spend my whole day like answering them. And it's like it just really hasn't hit me yet that I'm everywhere. I just feel like I'm a voice that's a little louder than other people's, that's out there, but it's not like it doesn't feel like I'm everywhere.
How has talking openly about this case helped you heal?
I feel like it's helped me a lot because of all the girls reaching out to me saying that I'm helping them, or like talking to me about like telling me I have somebody to talk to if I ever need anybody to talk to that can like relate to it. And it's helping me a lot in general, just because it's like all the support, and maybe Drew will finally get to go to prison and I will get the justice with all of this.
If you could ask Drew Clinton a question, what would you, or if you had a comment that you had, you know, if he was sitting here with us now, what would you say to him? Have you ever thought about that? If you ever had that opportunity?
I really wouldn't say anything to him. I have nothing to say to him. He just nothing. I just hate him as a person. I wouldn't tell him anything.
I imagine you're looking forward to reading the victim impact statement if they ever do get that
I am.
reversed.
If I ever get the chance to read it, that would be a really good day for me.
My last question for you, do you have any advice for, not necessarily 16-year-olds, but any woman who has been in your situation where they've been sexually assaulted or facing a similar situation to yours? Any thoughts for them?
It's really like scary thing to speak out about it and come out with your story and tell your parents and tell your friends, but it does help you whenever you speak out and not keep it to yourself. Because I feel like if I kept it to myself, I'd be having to deal with the burden and the pain inside of me and having no one to talk to, because having people to talk to makes it way better than just keeping it all inside of you.
Cameron, thank you. And I appreciate you coming by today.
Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers, and thank you to everybody who checks us out every day at muddyrivernews.com. See you next time.